Hello. Most of you already know me, but my name is Lauren Wilkins, and I'm the director and co-owner here at CAPA. Normally, I would be giving you this information in person, but as you may also know, I'm going to be having a baby in a few weeks, so we decided to make a video this year as a little backup plan. For those of you who are new to CAPA this year, welcome. For those of you who are returning for your second or your fifth or your 15th recital, welcome back. Recital is our absolute favorite weekend of the year, and we're so excited to share it with everyone, especially since we have a new venue and lots of changes and lots of new things happening. So before we start reviewing details on all of those, I just wanted to make a few announcements about other things that are going on at CAPA right now. This week, May 14th through 19th, is our final week for early bird registration for summer classes here at CAPA. We have extended our date to the 19th, so any registration completed before Saturday does receive our discounted tuition rates. So make sure to take advantage of that if you're going to be joining us this summer. Also, our 2018-2019 dance schedule, which will start in September, is in production and will be released very soon. It's going to be a really special year as we're going to be celebrating our 20th anniversary here in Camarillo. So we're really excited to share that with everyone. You'll receive a postcard in the mail with class placement and an announcement when our schedule goes up online, and then we'll also have schedules available at the front desk, of course, too. If you don't already follow us on social media, make sure to like us on Facebook and Instagram, and then also make sure you're receiving our weekly email blasts. We post announcements about Recital and other events that are happening at least once a week, so if you just stop by the front desk, make sure that we have the correct email on file for you, then we can get you all signed up. So the first thing we're going to talk about is dress rehearsal. All of our dress rehearsal and recital events are held at Oxnard Performing Arts Center. That's located at 800 Hobson Way in Oxnard. When you get there, there's a large parking lot out front, and there's also street parking available. All the parking is free of charge for all 4 days of events. At this time, your instructor is going to pause for a second and review your class's specific dress rehearsal dates and times. And please note that these are the times that your class is going to be taken backstage to rehearse. So we recommend allowing additional time to park, to use the restroom, to change into your costume if you need it, and then also to check in with us and find and meet your class before this time. Usually, if you allow an extra 20 to 30 minutes, that should be plenty of time. So we're going to stop for a second, and I'll let your instructor give you your times. You have your specific class times now. Once you arrive there, you'll go in the main double doors into the theater complex, which will take you to a large courtyard. If you head to your right, the theater, and you'll see it there, it's very easy to find. The theater will be on the right, and you'll go in the main lobby of the auditorium, just the way you will when you're actually going to see a show. There will be a table set up with CAPA representatives. Some of the ladies from the front desk will be there, and they'll be waiting to check you in. You'll just give them your dancer's class time and name, and then they'll give you where your assigned row is in the auditorium. So parents will go with dancers into the auditorium and wait in that assigned row. You'll all wait in the row together. And then at our dress rehearsal time, we will come and take the kids out of the audience. Parents will wait in the audience. We'll head backstage and let the kids see the backstage area, get acclimated, and just make sure that everybody's comfortable and knows what it's going to feel like the day of the show. Then we'll get to go on stage, have our rehearsal. We usually go through our dance once or twice. We also get to block through spacing for our older dancers that move around the stage a lot. We usually have about 10 minutes actually on the stage. Once we're done on the stage, as a class, we'll stay together and we'll come back through the audience to the lobby where we'll take a group picture. So all the group pictures will be done in the lobby of the auditorium this year. Parents, if you can please wait in the theater while we take our group picture, we'll come back to you afterwards. We have our student assistants are the ones that transport the dancers back and forth from the audience to the backstage area to the lobby to get their picture taken, and then finally back to you. And we give them really specific instructions not to release the dancers until they get back to their row in the audience, just for safety reasons. So again, once we pass by you in the audience, and we'll take our group picture, and then we'll come right back to you. So usually the entire dress rehearsal process takes between 45 minutes and an hour, from the time we leave the auditorium to go backstage to when we come back to you in our room. Once the dancer comes back to you, then if you don't have any other dances that day, then you're done. You can go ahead and take off. If you have other dances that you need to change into, then you'll go back to the lobby and check in with the ladies that you saw initially, and they'll give you instructions on where our assigned dressing rooms are for that day. It is a full dress rehearsal. All dancers should have the correct costume, shoes, tights, hair, makeup, everything the way it's going to be for the show. Not only so that we get the same experience that we'll have at the show, but also so that we can take our group picture and have everyone be matching and ready to go there. Dress rehearsal is mandatory. We absolutely need every single dancer with us at dress rehearsal. We have a lot of spacing around the stage to review, and if we're missing dancers, it can be really confusing for their classmates. But also, we want to make sure that each dancer is prepared mentally and is really going to have the best possible experience. So the best way to do that is to get them to have their dress rehearsal and to get to practice and feel exactly what the stage looks like. Especially for our younger dancers, it's very different than the classroom. We have lights and much louder sound and the audience in front of us. So it's so important that we all get to experience that before we get to the day of the show. You already went over your specific times, but dress rehearsal schedules are posted on the CAPA bulletin board. They're also on the CAPA website. So if you need any reminders of that, just feel free to check any of those places or just stop by the front desk and we can help you out then too. This year, parents are going to be able to view the dress rehearsal, so you'll be able to stay in the auditorium the entire time. We're really excited about that. We haven't been able to do that in a few years. But please be respectful of the following guidelines. There's absolutely no flash photography while the dancers are on stage. Non-flash pictures are fine. We just don't want the flashes going off and either distracting our younger dancers, or they can become dangerous for our older dancers as well. So please, no flashes or bright lights from the audience. Do feel free to video your dancer at dress rehearsal, but we do want to avoid blocking others' views. So please no holding up large iPads or setting up tripods or things that could block aisleways. Just small recording devices, please. And then finally, there's no food or drink allowed in the auditorium. So if you're going to be there for quite a while that day and you want to pack lunch or bring lunch for your dancer, there's a huge courtyard area outside where they're welcome to eat. We do want to make sure that we're not eating in our costumes. So if they're in their costume, just bring a cover up or a robe or something they can throw on over while they have lunch or dinner. So now we're going to move on to the day of the show. And once again, I'm going to pause for a second and your instructor can review your class's specific show day and time. And there's a spot on that handout for you to fill it in. Now, as your instructor probably told you, the day of the show, we all need to be there 1 hour before showtime. So arriving early is really essential just to keep our show running according to schedule. For dress rehearsal, we check in separately by class, but the day of the show, we'll check in all of our dancers that will be in the show at the same time. So that's why we need all that time to help everybody meet their class and then to get them all backstage and settled in their dressing rooms and comfortable before the show begins. The procedure for the day of the show is a little different than dress rehearsal. You'll go into the Oxnard room. So if you've been to the theater complex before, the auditorium is on the right-hand side of the courtyard. Directly across from the main doors to the auditorium are the doors to the Oxnard room. It's just an event space that's also in the theater complex. That's where we're going to be doing all of our check-in and check-out for the shows. We ask that just one person brings their dancer to that check-in area in the Oxnard room. It's really important that that person that drops them off is also going to be the person that picks them up. So when you bring them, you will receive a hand stamp, and that's going to let you back in the Oxnard room after the show is over to pick up. So again, please make sure that just one person, and it's the same person that's going to pick up. If we can have all of our siblings and guests, grandparents, anyone else who's there to see the show, wait in the courtyard or actually be in the auditorium, that's a big help. We just want to avoid any overcrowding or congestion to keep the whole process running really smoothly. After you receive your hand stamp, then we'll direct you to where your dancer's class is meeting. We'll have different areas set up for each class. Their volunteer helpers that will stay with them throughout the show will be waiting there at that time. So we have helpers assigned to each class for our younger dancers, and then to each dressing room for our older dancers. When you meet them, if there's any information they need, such as food allergies, special costume instructions, just anything that might help them keep your dancer comfortable throughout the show, then you want to give that information to the helpers at that time. Once your dancer is settled with their class, then you can go ahead and take your seat in the auditorium and enjoy the show, and we have it from there. Once our whole class has assembled, then we will go backstage to our dressing room. So we won't be in that room during the show. Once our class meets together, we will all walk as a class with our helpers to the backstage entrance, and we'll be in our dressing room backstage throughout the entire show. Please note, we don't allow anybody who doesn't have a backstage pass, or in other words, who isn't a volunteer helper, beyond that stage door. So once the kids go to their dressing room, they will stay back there with their helpers. Before you leave, before you drop them off, make sure they have everything that they will need during the show. So any emergency supplies you want to send with them, like hair, makeup supplies, tights. We'll go over this in a little more detail in a little while. But just anything that they might need. And then, of course, all their costumes that they're going to need during the show and their dance shoes. And then also please note that, again, for dancer safety, we do keep them backstage throughout the entire show. We don't allow anyone to leave at intermission or midway through the show. The reason being simply that everybody that does our check-in and our check-out has a whole nother job they're doing while the show is in progress. So in order to keep everybody safe, we only check in at the beginning of the show and we only check out at the end of the show. So at the conclusion of the show, all the dancers come back on stage for finale. And then once finale is over, we'll start to bring them back to the Oxnard room where you checked them in, class by class. We'll start with our youngest dancers, our preschoolers, and then work our way all the way up to the oldest dancers. If you have a student that is on the older side, don't feel like you need to rush right to the checkout area, because it will take maybe 10 to 15 minutes before they're released from their dressing room and they make their way over there. Again, we'll walk class by class with our helpers so that there's always adults present and keeping us all together. And then they'll be waiting right where you dropped them off for you to pick them up. So when you come back to the Oxnard room at the end of the show, there's two doors. There's a door on the right-hand side that will be the entrance, a door on the left-hand side that'll be the exit. Make sure, please, that you go into the entrance side. There'll be someone there checking your hand stamp, and then you can go and meet your class, gather up all your dancers' belongings, and then you'll come back through the second door on the left-hand side, which is where you'll see me. I'm the last one you'll see. Usually the entire checkout procedure takes between 20 and 30 minutes. Our priority is making sure that each dancer is carefully matched up with his or her parent, and that it's nice and calm and smooth. A few things you can do to help us with that. If you do not have a hand stamp, please wait out by the courtyard or over by the auditorium rather than trying to come into the checkout area. So we have just the parent that has their hand stamp comes into the checkout area, and then all of our siblings and guests and friends and family can wait over by the courtyard. The teachers will also make our way over there, so if you want to take pictures with teachers or say goodbye for the summer or anything like that, we'll all come over there by the time we get everybody checked out. So just wait a few minutes for us and we'll be over there to say goodbye. Okay, that's pretty much everything for checkout. We will be answering questions in a few more minutes. I just have a few more things to go over. So now we're ready to move on. We're going to take a few minutes to review some appearance guidelines. We're very specific on these details because we pride ourselves on giving each dancer the opportunity to perform in a professional atmosphere, from the stage to the costumes and the lighting and everything in between. Your instructor is going to stop the video for a second and is going to review your class's requirements for hair and makeup and shoes and tights. We do have a few guidelines that are universal for the entire studio. They are, first, no jewelry, please. So if we have small pierced earrings that we don't take out, that's fine, those can stay in, but nothing dangly, no necklaces or rings or bracelets or anything like that. We also want to take any nail polish off before the show. And then we want to avoid extra hair accessories, things with sparkles in the hair, or like they make the little crocheted bun covers that are really cute for class, but for the day of the show, we want all of our hairpins and hairnets and ponytail holders, everything to be the same color as our hair. And then we also want to avoid hair glitter, body glitter, extra things like that, just so that we're all universal and we all match nicely with our class. We also do not allow any visible tattoos or piercings other than ears. And then no visible undergarments, please. So any foundation garment that we wear, whether it's a camisole leotard, bras, straps, anything needs to be completely hidden under their costume, just for modesty reasons. We also ask that dancers do not wear underwear underneath their tights, again, because we don't want that to show from the stage. So they just wear their tights and their costume, and we want to make sure that anything else is completely hidden underneath our costume. All right, so that should take care of all of our appearance guidelines. The next thing are just a few reminders, and if you're following along on your handout, this is on the reverse side under part 4. First, we want to make sure that our dancers' names are in everything that you bring to the theater. So all of our shoes, tights, costumes, dance bags, anything that you bring to recital, do put your dancer's name in it. If we do find anything at the theater that's not labeled, we do tend to leave it behind, just because there's so much that gets left behind in dressing rooms. So do make sure, again, your dancer's name is in everything that you bring. As far as what to bring for the show, we recommend all our dancers bring a little emergency kit. For our youngest dancers, preschool and primary, that can be really simple. We recommend an extra pair of tights, just in case we rub our lipstick or get dirty or snag a hole in our tights. Then also their own hair and makeup supplies. Again, very simple, just maybe their own comb and hairspray, their own lipstick. It doesn't need to be a whole makeup kit, but just a little bit so that we can touch them up. We don't share makeup or hair supplies among our dancers backstage. So whatever we have for your dancer is what their volunteer helper has to help them get ready before they go on. For our older dancers, you may want to include a little bit more elaborate makeup. You also should bring safety pins, extra hairpins and bobby pins, a little light snack, and some water. Please don't bring anything messy or gooey that could spill or stain costumes. Please no colored liquids, just clear liquids. Water's preferred. All those things will come in handy backstage. Tights colors are listed here again under our reminders. So all of our pink tights, which is what we wear for ballet, are Capezio pink. All of our tan tights, which is what we wear for tap and jazz, are Capezio light suntan. If there's another brand that you prefer, that's totally fine with us. We just want to make sure that the colors match. There's a lot of variation among dance tights, and we just want to make sure that all of our colors are nice and uniform from the stage. All tights should be clean, no holes or runs or faded colors, please. I mentioned earlier, no underwear underneath their tights, just tights and costumes so that we don't see anything from the stage. Again, it says here, no dancer is allowed to leave at intermission or at any time during the show. That's for safety, so we don't make exceptions to that. We do want to make sure that all of our dancers are prepared to stay till the end, and also so that they can come back on stage and take one last bow during finale. No flash photography during dress rehearsal, but also during the recital performance. It's distracting and even dangerous for our dancers, and then it's distracting for our audience members as well. So non-flash pictures are acceptable as long as we're respectful of our fellow theater patrons and we're not blocking anybody's views or causing any issues. Oxnard Performing Arts Center does prohibit videotaping during the performance. So as I said, you're welcome to video dress rehearsal, and then each performer will receive a professionally recorded video as part of your recital package. So you'll have a video that comes included with your recital package. If you wanted to purchase additional DVDs, we'll have an order form at the front desk. It looks like this. And they're $40 each. And then you can turn that in anytime up to the day of the show. But again, you will have one that's included with your recital package already. Then, there's a lot of order forms that are at the desk this time of year. One that is just coming out this week is our recital flower sale. Our performing team, Team CAPA, sells flowers. You pre-order the flowers here at the studio, and then you can pick them up in the lobby the day of the show. They're roses. There you can buy a single rose or a group of 3 roses. It doesn't have to go through us. Of course, you're welcome to bring in outside flowers, but for this flower sale, all the proceeds do go back towards the dancers on Team CAPA to help them pay for travel and costumes and all the expenses that go along with their dancing. Then finally, there's a recital program. This is a copy of our program from a few years ago. We do a really beautiful full color book, and then we also do ad sales in it to help support the printing. So if you wanted to place an ad for a dancer, or if you wanted to place an ad for a business, you can do that. It does go to all the audience members at every single show. That'll be the same program. And then our ad form is here, and that's at the front desk right now too. We just need this back by June 1st. And there's different sizes. We also have little dancer message ads, so those are just texts only. But then we'll have them posted at a special little location at Recital too. So you'll be able to see it not just in the program, but also at another point during Recital. Those are all of our ads that we have. Few other things, there's a binder at the front desk that's marked recital information. It has a page for each class. So if your dancer has 4 classes, there'll be 4 pages in there that pertain to your dancer's information. And it says for each class, our dress rehearsal and show times that we went over today. It also has what color shoes, what tights if we're wearing tights, just everything else that we need, as well as sewing instructions for our costume, if there are any. There's not a lot, but there are a few. And then it also has instructions for any hair pieces that we have or hairstyles. So if you need to go over any of that information that's specific for our class, that'll be up at the front desk, usually by tomorrow. We have it in the classroom with us right now, but then at the end of the day today, it'll get put in our binder. Recital is one of the busiest, most hectic times of year around here, but we love it. It's also our favorite, and we want to make sure that everybody has a great experience and everyone enjoys it as much as we do. So if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, please stop by the front desk and talk to us. Our phone number is listed on this sheet as well, or you're welcome to email us. If you go through our website, there's a spot to email, and we're happy to just answer any questions you have and make sure that we're all prepared and we are ready to have a great weekend. Okay? I think that's all for our reminders. The last thing that I'm going to talk about today is volunteering. We rely heavily on our volunteers to help care for all of our dancers while they're backstage. If you're interested in volunteering, there's a few different ways you can do so. One is as a backstage helper in our dressing rooms. So those would be females only. We also need help with props, with security backstage. Those helpers can be dads or moms. And then for our youngest dancers, our preschool and primary dancers, we ask the parents to bring some things to help keep us comfortable in our dressing room. So we bring some snacks, waters for us, different things to entertain us, and then also some blankets to lay on the ground in our dressing room so that we all have some place to sit and be comfortable during the show. At this time in our preschool and primary classes, our instructor is going to stop the video for a second and take our volunteers to bring those items that we need during the show. You'll bring these the day of the show. We don't need them before. And then we just want to make sure that they're labeled with your class name, or class day and time, I should say. And then we also, if it's something that you're going to want back, like blankets or games or anything like that, put your dancer's name and class day and time on those, so that we can make sure that they get to the right bin and they get to the right place at the end of the show. If you'd like to volunteer at the show, then sign-up sheets are posted in the lobby on the main bulletin board. We also take volunteers to help at dress rehearsal as well. That wouldn't be in the dressing rooms. That would be helping to direct kids backstage and just making sure that everything's running smoothly. Thank you so much for listening to all this information. It's now time for the fun part. It's time to hand out our costumes. We'll also be handing out our recital t-shirts at this time. Once you receive your costume from your instructor, you can try it on your dancer. You can put it on over their leotard, or if you want to take their leotard off and put it on just over their tights, that's fine too. And we do want to be cautious that we keep all the pieces together. They'll have headpieces sometimes, or accessories. We want to make sure that nothing gets left behind here at the studio. And once everyone has their costumes on, your instructor is going to review any sewing or alteration details that you need. And we'll also look if there's any sizing issues. We can take care of that at this time. So again, thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to find me, to find any of the ladies that work at the front desk here at CAPA. We can all help you with any information that you need to fill in. Thank you.